Good morning. Welcome to this Timewax Planning Board webinar. And today we will discuss the five biggest changes, the five biggest features for the new planning board compared to the old one. In case this is your first webinar, just a short explanation about the options. You will all have probably a GoToWebinar control panel in your screen, and there is the questions box. So in case you have any questions, please ask them. Today I will hosting this webinar with my colleague Robbert-Jan. My name is Marco Kroon, and the most of the attendees should know me from earlier webinars or maybe some personal contact. So please ask your questions. Robbert-Jan will answer them, or we will talk about them or answer them during this webinar. But let's just start with the five biggest changes, and they were mentioned in our mailing, so you probably already noticed them, or maybe you are already worked with the new planning board. And the biggest change, or something that is really different compared to the old planning board, is the view option, so the view settings. In the old planning board, you was used to just select your resources by selecting a department, selecting maybe a position, and we rebuilt that option, especially to give you more options, to give you a better way of making the right selection, making the right overview, to be able to plan your resources fast or make a good selection of projects, to be able to just select only the resources or the projects you need to see. Of course, we have the menu on the right side of the planning board. Just open the menu, and as you can see, I'm currently working with two boards. So I have a board with all active resources and all active projects. And I can easily add or edit the view which is selected. So I can change the active resource view, but for this purpose, I will add a new view, which I will call customer success, and I'm looking for resources. So each view needs to have a name. You need to select a type, and you can add some fields. So a field is an option to make your selection. So for this particular view, I like to see all my resources which are part of the customer success department. So the field will be department, the condition will be is equal to, and the value will be customer success. Of course, I can just type it in, and the other option is that I open the drop-down menu and select the department I like to see. You can add some more options, but it is not able to add a second department. But I can say, okay, I not only need the customer success department, but I only need my resources with a specific position or with a specific skill level. And then you can just see only the resources you like to see. Now, currently, this is the thing I need, so I will press add view. And as you can see, only my customer success resources stay in this view. I can add another one, which is called Office, for example. Again, a resource view. And now I like to see all my resources from the Office department. And that's something new compared to the planning board beta version. Now I can select multiple views. So I can combine them and see them all in one overview in my planning board. So I can create a third and a fourth view, and I can just fill them in, select them to have all the needed resources in one view. Of course, during your day, during your planning work, you will have some situations where you just need one extra person, or so someone you needs to add to this view, or maybe you just want to see one resource. And that's something we just developed, something we add in the latest version of the planning board, is that you can just say, okay, well, please add a single resource just temporary in my view. So for example, Ilse van Bunnik, she is not in my view, so she's not from the customer success department, she's not from the office department, but I need to see and I need to plan her during this webinar. So I can just add her and she will be added within my view. And it's just temporary. I can easily just delete her, and of course she will stay in Timewax, of course. You will keep her planning, etc., but she won't be part of your view anymore. The other way around is that I have currently 7 resources in my view, and especially when you have 20, 30, 40 or multiple resources, then you like to see just one. So for example, just give me my own resource. Which will be here. Now just make a quick selection like Rick. So you can search for a name. You can search for the department, like office, or maybe you can search for a position. And in this way, you can easily just make a shorter selection. You don't need to add or delete views or whatever. So it's an option to make life a bit easier. Well, the same, of course, for projects. So as you can see in my second board, I have a view with all active projects. I can create a new view, but I can filter as well. So just give me the family building project. Or just give me a consultancy project. A temporary selection within a view. And also for projects the other way around, if you have a view with 1, 2, 3 projects, or maybe only the project from a specific project manager, you can easily add a project for a shorter amount of time just to see if all the planning fits well. That was, or that's our view option. So yes, of course, it's different than in the old planning board, but it would give you more and more options to make the planning board more user friendly and make the planning board more based on whatever you need during your daily work. What's changed more? Of course, and we already had that in the Flash version of the planning board. So yeah, we are already calling it the old planning board. I will explain it a bit more later during this webinar, but as you know, we have the day views, we have the weekly views, we have the monthly views, and we choose to add some more options for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, etc. So not just 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 working days, but more options to see a planning on a different level than with a weekly view or with a monthly view. We have the zoom option, and I will explain the zoom option a bit more just when I'm talking about a new way of creating bookings or a new way of showing bookings in the planning board. So for example, I have my own resource, and as you can see, I will be, or I don't have any resource bookings during the 14th of March. And in this situation, I would plan myself for, let's say, the consultancy project phase 1. So I'm just picking myself up and I will say, okay, in this pop-up, I can change the project, I can change the activity as you used to be in the old planning board, but of course a different layout, and I can change the time. So we are making a 8 hours booking, but in this case, I like to plan myself, let's say, from 9 until 12. So it will be a 3-hour booking, and I will press save. And then you will see the changes compared to the old planning board right away, because you only see a small booking, and I can easily add a second one on a different project, a different activity from 12 until 5, press save. And as you can see, we won't put them on top of each other as we were used to be in the Flash planning board, but we will just like you are used to in our calendar, so you can see them both, so you don't need to click through them. And of course, maybe you won't have that much details in your booking, but with the zoom option, you can zoom in within your 4 weeks view in this case, and I can just easily scroll through the weeks and I will have a better overview of my bookings. And in case I have some bookings which are at the same time, or I can just make this a bit longer to show you how it will look like. And then you can see we won't put them on top of each other as well, but you can see them both right away. And just move over and you will see the short pop-up with the information you need. So it's a different approach, but with the zoom option and with the short, with the small pop-up, you will have the overview, you will have the details which are needed to do your job and to inform your resources and your colleagues. Of course, I can just zoom out to my preferred level, and I can just go further with adding the bookings, etc., etc. So basically, just to bring it back to where the planning board is needed for, just keep dragging and dropping your resources to your projects and your projects to your resources, etc. Making these 2 or 3 bookings, it gives you already a better understanding of the way we are showing them in the planning board and also the way you can create them. So again, just pick up your resource and drag and drop it to the project, to the activity. And as you can see, if I go to the 15th of March, for example, I can just move over this day and I can decide when should this booking start. So on what time do I like to start this booking? So let's say 2 o'clock, consultancy, phase 1. And here I can say, no, it's not an 8-hour booking. It's just a booking for 3 hours. So start time will be 2 o'clock. The end time will be 5 o'clock. And of course, I have the options for a repeating booking. I can add a description. I can add remarks. And I can save. A new feature within the booking, within the resource bookings option is that you can justify hours. And in case you will justify hours for a resource, so for example, for my resource Jan Jansen, Timewax will look into his workable hours. So the workable hours are filled in within the master resource. And he will compare it to his already planned time. So in case you will justify the hours, we are just looking, okay, when can we use Jan Jansen or every other resource for this particular activity. So let me just drag and drop him to the family building project. Business analyst, start date will be the 11th of March. And I will go to the repeating booking option. And I will have the weekly option, I will have the daily option, the monthly option. So that's the same as it was in the, or as it is in the Flash planning board. And I have the justify option, justify with end date. And in this case, I would just say, okay, well, just make resource bookings until the end date and only on the time Jan Jansen is working, but not scheduled yet. So I will say, in this case, the 15th of March, and I will press, well, let me say the end of March, and I will press save. And of course, I will get some notifications. I will talk about this a bit more later during this webinar. But as you can see, he only creates resource bookings on the Monday and the Friday, and that where the free spots, the free options within Jan Jansen is planning. So this was the case with justify with end date. The other option is justify hours. So just let me undo this last change. So I will do almost the same. So I will make a booking for family building activity business analyst. First day will be March, the 11th of March. I will go to repeating booking, and here I have the option called justify hours. And here I can say, okay, just schedule, just plan this resource for 80 hours and just make this bookings as soon as possible. But please keep in mind his existing planning and his workable hours. And I will just press save. And of course, in this case, he will create a number of bookings, but only till the 80 hours are justified for this resource. So I will undo this last option again. So that's about justify options. Justify hours or justify with an end date. It's a new option within this planning board. So just find out if it could help you in make your life a bit easier. Of course, if you have any questions, and it's for all new features, it's for the planning board in general. If you have any questions, just ask them in the questions box during this webinar. And as soon as this webinar is finished, just reach out to us by support@timewax.com, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Let me talk about settings. And the settings option is the right side of the screen. And here I can define what do I like to see on my planning board. So not in terms of resources and projects, but more in terms of, do I like to see the workable hours of the resource? Is it important for me? Do I like to see the weekends, or is it not important for me? What time do I like to see in the footer? What information do I like to see in time settings? So for example, let me see, well, this could be none, and then I like to see the available hours in the time section. I like to see the project color, and well, which kind of labels do I like to see? And this is a more advanced way of showing information compared to the old planning board, because we've added some new labels. So basically all the important information will be available to put in a booking. And of course, the more information you like to see, the higher your row height needs to be. So I can just make it bigger, and as you can see in the background, the bookings will grow, so a booking needs more space. And I can, especially when I don't need so much information, I can just bring the board row height back to 28 or just 32, or just whatever you prefer, whatever would be useful for you. Feel free to just put the slider to the left or right side. Let me press save. And as you can see, something has changed. I have the time section where I can see that Anouk is still available 8 hours on the 11th of March, and as well on the 15th, but just during the weekend, of course, he has not any workable hours, so it won't be zero available hours. And for example, looking into my own resource for the 15th of March, of course, I've created the short booking from 2 till 5 o'clock, but I still have 5 hours available during the morning, and I can just easily drag and drop a new booking on a new project, a new activity. Let's say from 9 until 2 o'clock. Press save, and the booking is saved. And before creating this booking, I have 5 hours available, and currently my whole day is fully planned. Back to the setting options. You can define your start time, your end time. You can define the number of rows on a page, which is limited at 40. 40 is the maximum lines on a single board. And of course, you can turn on or turn off the notifications. What about deleting bookings or editing a combined repeating series or whatever is possible with a single resource booking. And of course, when you are selecting a booking, you will have this pop-up where you can change whatever you like. You can see which colleague has added the booking, when is this booking edited for the last time, of course, start date, start time, end time. Is it a repeating booking? Yes or no? What is the end date? Of course, description, remarks, etc. Are there multiple resources added to this booking? And a new feature we have added within this pop-up is to edit multiple bookings with just a small number of clicks. So, for example, we have someone who will be on holiday, or we have someone who is not available during a specific time. So, for example, let's say Anouk will be on holiday from the 18th of March until the 29th or whatever. So I can, of course, I can make a selection based on project, based on activity, but also based on a resource. So let's say where is let's pick another example. Rick will be on holiday from the 19th of March until the 29th. So what I'm actually asking is, okay, well, please give me all the bookings for this resource during this period. I will press next. I will have an overview and I will see, okay, well, he is scheduled, he is planned for family building on the 19th of March, 20th of March, 26th and the 27th. I will say next, and then I can choose, okay, what do I like to do? So Rick won't be available, so I can say just move bookings with X number of days, so with 7 or with 8 or with 14 or with whatever, and I can choose to delete bookings as well. So especially when you are scheduling a single resource for a longer period, let's say for weeks or for months on one single project, which will be the case for consultants or for other interim work, for example, you can, and the resource will be on holiday or won't be available. Just make a selection based on resource, based on project, based on activity, and of course based on a start and an end date, and just choose to delete the bookings on this particular days. Press apply, and the bookings will be deleted. Just close the window, and you can, in this case, schedule Rick for his holiday or for whatever. This is a new feature, and of course, there are some questions and there is some feedback about, okay, but I like to not remove them, but just change from one resource to another. Well, just bring in your feedback, and we would love to discuss it internally. And yeah, let's see if we can bring it in the new planning board during one of the next releases. Talking about the future of this planning board, and maybe especially the future of the old planning board. Of course, there is a reason why we are developing a new one, and the main reason is that the old planning board is created years and years ago in Flash, and Flash is a, let's say, old technique, and even the developers of Flash won't support Flash anymore within, let's say, a few months to a year. So we are working hard to just be able to just put the old planning board away and to make sure you can all work with the new planning board, which is created in HTML5, so in a new technique, and it will be our platform for future development. So please be aware that the old planning board won't be supported anymore within a few months. I cannot just call a date like, well, it will be offline on the date X, but of course we will keep informing you in the upcoming months about new features, new development within our new board, and about the process where the last part is bringing the old planning board offline. So please be aware that the new planning board will be our main planning board already, but that the old planning board will be offline within a few months. Don't be afraid that we won't support you in changing your way of work or changing the options available, or maybe you have some feedback, or maybe you have some questions about adding views, or maybe you're just have some questions about the look and feel, the user interface. Maybe you have some feedback about the available features. Just call us, just go to support@timewax.com, just send us a mail, support@timewax.com, and we will make sure we will support you. We can arrange trainings, we can arrange some one-on-one video conferences. Just be sure that you are aware of the options and that you are willing to learn the new planning board. Some questions coming in about how do I define a project and a resource board. So, well, I started with two boards. So with a board with all active resources. So I will delete the office, I will delete the customer success views, and I can select my all active resource view. And of course, I have a all active project view on the second board, and I can explain the options with the icons a bit more. Of course, we have the eye, which will hide the board, or in case you are working with one board, then you can press the eye to show the other one. We have the list view, so you won't have a planning board view, but you just have a list view with all the bookings during this time section. You can change from a vertical to a horizontal mode. Of course, we have the play mode, and you can follow the project, or if you are in a project board, you can follow the resource board. And with follow the board, it was available in the old planning board as well. But with the follow board mode, let me first change this one to a planning board view, and I can press follow resource board. And as you can see, I have all my active resources. And on my project board, I only see the projects where the resources are scheduled for during this period. And you can, this was based on the resource board, but if you choose for follow the project board, you will see the resource planning based on the projects in your project board. Does the start and end time limit my booking possibilities? Well, it won't limit your booking possibilities, but for example, when you change start and end time in settings, and for example, I choose for a start time at 8 o'clock and a end time at 5:30. And in case you will create a booking from 8 till 8, for example, you won't see the whole booking. It is scheduled, so the resource is scheduled for 12 hours, but it won't be visible within your within your planning board. I can change to just show you what. So let me just say the start time will be 7 o'clock and the end time will be 8 o'clock in the afternoon. And as you can see, I will have more space on the right and on the left side of the booking. So of course, yeah, this screen is still the same size. I have some open space before and after the booking period, so I will have a smaller booking. So that's the reason why you can justify this to just change within a start and end time, which will be the best for you to have only the times or only the information visible which is important for you. So when you are scheduling your resources always somewhere between 8 and 5 or 8 and 6, yeah, the evening hours won't be important for you. So that's the reason why we have built this time scale option within settings. Are there more options with the edit multiple booking options? So it was the option where you can click the booking and press the edit multiple bookings. Well, currently it is just delete or move. So delete, and of course they will be deleted, and move is they will be moved with the number of days you will fill in. And we are just looking into other options like change change the booking from resource A to resource B, or maybe a change from project A to project B or whatever. So we are working on it, but it's currently not available. Other question, can you still copy bookings? Yes, that's possible. We have the copy booking option next to the edit multiple booking. So just select a booking, edit multiple bookings, and copy booking. And of course, you can remove a resource, you can remove or delete the whole booking, copy booking, edit multiple bookings. You can send a reminder, you can send a confirmation. So a reminder is to your resource and a confirmation is to your client. You can add progress and you can add a task. And of course, we have the option available to match resources for open resource requests, but we can talk a bit more during a different webinar because it is an option which was available already, which is available in the old planning board as well. Are there more questions? I think Robert-Jan has already answered most questions just one-on-one. And if we are talking about the follow-up of this webinar, we will send all attendees, but also all the other people who has signed in for the webinar. We will send you the recording. So you will receive it probably at the beginning of next week. We will start up a Q&A page or a FAQ page on our support website. So please be aware that we will inform you, let's say the start of next week, with a recording with a URL to our FAQ page on the website. So also the questions which are just answered one-on-one, or maybe some other questions which are not asked during this webinar, will be available to see get the questions from different clients, from other clients, maybe from the same company, maybe other Timewax users. So, and hopefully it will help you in adopting the new planning board to start using it. And again, if you have any questions, just reach out to support@timewax.com and we will help you in the best way possible. Thank you for your time, and we will probably talk to each other the next webinar.